Like, how many Spotify deals have happened? They're like NBA contracts. Literally, Joe Rogan gets a $100 million contract. Call Her Daddy gets a $60 million contract. Kim Kardashian gets one. Michelle Obama. These huge, huge, huge influencers, people with a ton of clout, are getting these crazy podcast deals.
Welcome to Soundboard with Toph. Here you'll learn all things podcasting to help you connect with your audience. And here's your host, Toph Evans.
Hello, and welcome to the Soundboard with Toph podcast. We are up to episode 11. So thank you for tuning in. If it's your first time, thank you for taking time out of your day to listen to this. Hopefully I don't disappoint you.
I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
And if you're a regular listener, thank you. I really do appreciate it. I am grateful for the support. Now, before I kickstart this episode, I want to give a shout out to my dear friend, RJ Singh. RJ is the creator and the host of the Ultra Habits podcast. And my dude left a review on my podcast. So I just want to read it out. And it says, Toph is the man. Want to know everything and anything there is to know about podcast land? Look no further than Toph. Thank you, dude. I really do appreciate it. And RJ has a pretty cool podcast. Now, if you're looking to live a more high-performing, ultra-performance lifestyle, especially if you're in the corporate world or in the sport world, this is the podcast to listen to. So I'll put this in the show notes and feel free to check it out. Now, with today's episode, I do want to talk around Spotify's dominance in the podcasting world. And when I say dominance, I say that with a capital D. The whole word should be in capitals. Now, there are a multitude of reasons why Spotify is dominating this space. And the main one is Spotify has surpassed Apple Podcasts for the first time. In 2021, they meet at an intersection and Spotify just kept going. That is because Spotify has continued to innovate, is continued to invest in technology and creators, make it a lot more user-friendly, especially their app. Their app is an all-in-one service. I can listen to music and I can listen to a podcast within the same platform. Whereas if I have an iPhone, I've got to use Apple Music to listen to music, and then I've got to use Apple Podcasts to listen to podcasts. But I have an Android, but I also have a Mac, so I don't discriminate. So based off that, there is an article I've seen from the Insider Intelligence where it actually says something very interesting. It says, overall, there will be 117.8 million overall monthly podcast listeners in 2021. That is a 10.1 year-on-year increase. This year, podcast listeners will represent 53.9% of monthly digital audio listeners, surpassing 50% for the first time. We anticipate that more audio listeners will start listening to podcasts monthly, leading to a 60.9% share by 2024. That is crazy. There's so much in that where more podcasts are going to be consumed. And it just shows that podcasts are the future. Now, in saying that, Apple has been the clear winner. It's where listeners mainly review. But Spotify has done something a little bit different. They've heavily invested in their technology, their creators, making it a little bit more easier to monetize. And if I just touch on creators, like how many Spotify deals have happened? They're like NBA contracts. Literally, Joe Rogan gets a $100 million contract. Call Her Daddy gets a $60 million contract. Kim Kardashian gets one. Michelle Obama. These huge, huge, huge influencers, people with a ton of clout, are getting these crazy podcast deals. And it's smart. They're doing it so people are listening to their shows. Like, let's just take Rogan, for example. Huge, huge, huge YouTube following. So if he's moving the majority of his podcasting content to Spotify, it's going to get a ton of new users. Same with Call Her Daddy, same with Michelle Obama. And for me, I was already on Spotify, so I'm like, oh, I'm already consuming Joe Rogan. But anyone that has been consuming on Apple Podcasts are going to go, oh, maybe I should download Spotify, and I'm going to listen to it through there. So very smart, Spotify. Now, anyone that isn't a big name player, they can still have premium memberships. Both Apple and Spotify offer it. But where Spotify is winning this one as well, like everything else, is Apple's podcasting premium platform, where if you haven't heard of it, you put it out there, people join, but they got to pay to listen to premium content. So Apple have a $20 fee, and then they take 30% of the cut of the revenue. Spotify, on the other hand, lets you keep it all, but they give you like a processing fee, which is nothing in the grand scheme of things. So Spotify is clearly winning that one. And then they have invested a lot of money into technology. So they've got hosting platforms. So Anchor is what I use. Anchor is free. Isn't that amazing to have podcast hosting that is distributed on every main podcasting platform like Apple and Spotify? I can use it and it's not going to cost me a cent. Look, I can use Buzzsprout. I can use Omni. There are so many. I don't want to be paying a premium to do that when I can just use Anchor, and it's user friendly, and you can monetize on Anchor. Only in US though. Come on, Anchor. Get it together so Australians can monetize on the app as well. But that's another reason. I don't really see Apple doing something innovative like that. And Anchor's cool. I really like Anchor. Hopefully you guys are listening. Hopefully you guys can sponsor me on the show one time. But where Spotify has a lot to improve on is reviews. Unfortunately, they don't have that functionality yet. So if anyone is wanting to review the show, I have to use things like ratethispodcast.com, and depending on what device you use, it will take it to what is the best for you. So if you have an iPhone, it will give you the option to rate the podcast through Apple Podcasts. But if you have an Android, you've got to use Castbox or Podchaser, any one of those. That's where the biggest downfall is right now, because reviews can help with ranking, reviews can help with credibility, it can help cross-promote things like I use for RJ, so shameless plug, if you do want to leave a review, good chance I'll read it in one of the coming episodes. But it just shows that what makes me very excited that Spotify is the clear winner in any sort of podcasting app. And I'm not throwing shade at any of the others, but it is exciting how innovative they are. And hopefully one day they can sponsor me. I don't see that happening for a long time, but I thought I would just put that in. Anyway, guys, I'm going to wrap it up there. Thank you for tuning in. If you were a first-time listener, hopefully you have made it this far. Anyway, thank you for listening and looking forward to see you in the next episode.
Thank you for listening, and remember, your voice matters. Soundboard acknowledges the traditional owners of the land on which we meet today, paying respects to elders past, present, and emerging.